I have never left you alone. I have left you with your very own intention journal. Let's leave the intro for the outro and get right into it. As on Sunday, the 7th of September, we're off to the lunar eclipse in Pisces on 15 degrees. And this lunar eclipse will be ruled by Neptune moving retrograde on 1 degree in Aries. More about this later, as I have a whole list of ascendants where the lunar and solar eclipse will be taking place, the ruling planet of the lunar and solar eclipse, and the ruling planet of the ascendant, and our little equation. A lot of this video can be answered by watching the houses video, but feel free in the comments. I am a little back, but I am a lot of rusty. Let's get into it, baby. As we're off to that lunar eclipse, a time for letting go and purging. Do note we are still in that number 9 year. Cycles are coming to an end, so let them. That lunar eclipse ruled by Neptune moving retrograde, so the dominant phrase I dream, I redream in Aries about how I act, how I present myself to the world, this new world we're approaching. It reminds me of this phenomenon in America. There's this drink, Feel Free. It's like this big. They don't recommend drinking more than one in 24 hours, but of course, there are some people who got hooked and like drank 10 a day for longer days. Had to recover, documented their hospitalization, and got back online to warn others about it. But of course, there are still quite young and impressionable people online who think, shall I try it too? Just one time. I'm not going to exceed 3. I promise. Just like some people promised Philip Morris, and look at us now. Either way, no more time for victim mentality, as we're preparing for Neptune, which is moving direct in Aries. There will be no more time or space for victim mentality. So even though the advertisements may be so big, may be so influential, you could have done something about it. Even though the internet is so overwhelming with all these videos reaching our young and impressionable people, we can do something about it. And like I've asked, what are you going to do about it? See how easy it is to follow Jared Leto to an island in Croatia? Just like that. But we need to stop that, and we're going to. Sometimes we're not strong alone, but we are stronger in numbers. But know what is the common cause. Even though you can like attach yourself to a certain group, even though you can be like a part of the puzzle, but you have to adjust yourself, you have to mold yourself a little bit. Be honest enough to yourself. Have the integrity to say, this is not where I should be, and let me leave the space open for the next one as I am on my way seeking my own unity. Keep following your intuition, and like Virgo, be selective. Use those things you have in Virgo to get to where you want to go. As that solar eclipse in Virgo will be occurring on the 21st of September on the critical and heretical degree of Virgo, 29 degrees, the full expression after learning trials and tribulations through that sign. So that solar eclipse ruled by Mercury on 5 degrees in Libra. Solar eclipses are times to assert yourself, to initiate with what? Virgo distributes skill. Initiate with your skill, like I have asked, put some time in towards yourself. Change your routines to also better yourself instead of like slaving for the wage, which on the road you'll find your tribe and you have to be selective. But you have to be on the way. And as we're talking about being on the way, like as I was preparing the intro, let me take this off though. As I was preparing the intro, I also saw that Chiron started moving retrograde, and I was like, yeah, that's not relevant. It's really relevant though. Because look, Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the wounded healer. And as it's moving retrograde, it's a wound from the past. So yeah, maybe when you were like 2 years old, maybe like generational past, whatever. And as I was thinking about that, and Virgo, we had two new moons in Virgo this year. The first one was on the first day on 0 or 1 degree. And as it was on 0, 1 degree, it was in an aspect of 150 degrees with Pluto moving retrograde in Aquarius. And that 150-degree aspect, quincux, is offbeat wisdom concerning health. Yeah, quincux. Originally classified as mildly adverse, the modern tendency is to consider its influence unpredictable and also more powerful than first thought. Some astrologers connect the quincux with health problems, others say it brings offbeat wisdom. And I translated it in my notes as offbeat wisdom concerning health. Health, also a Virgo thing, because as we're looking at the houses video, I said sixth house ruled by Virgo concerns health, routines concerning health. So your daily routines, your daily habits, also work routines and work habits, how you are to service to yourself and service to others. It represents your colleagues and also our slaves. Yes, I said that. And stay with me now, because that whole transatlantic stuff, we all been there, believe me, because we had that first new moon 0, 1 degree in that 150 degree aspect with Pluto. Long story short, as we say in the Netherlands, you need to relieve the pressure of the kettle. All that pressure on whatever skill you have, whatever you can bring to the world, and we keep suppressing it because we need to be here, we need to be there. In Europe, a lot of people are like, I need to earn more, I need to earn more, but like at a certain point, you're only like shooting yourself in the foot. So you need to have a plan. It's not you need to have a plan or just stay. In America, a lot of people are going hard for tips. And if you know where the tipping culture started, it's like, oh, everything comes full circle. Wonderful. Or not. Pisces, Virgo, Aquarius don't have a lot in common, but they are both very altruistic, both very humanitarian for the people, love to do things for the people. So relieve the pressure of whatever it is that you can do for the people. And as the moon is traveling through Virgo, like always, but especially during this lunar eclipse, it will be aspecting Chiron, moving retrograde. Well, I think it's on 24, 25 degree. I don't care. I don't know. But as it's doing that, also, again, that 150-degree aspect closing, but still that 150-degree aspect, that offbeat wisdom concerning health. Stop slaving for the wage. Put yourself, Aries, Chiron in Aries, moving retrograde, those wounds from the past, paying off debts like you weren't even alive when those debts were made, sweetheart. You need to stop that. And how? Distribute your skill. I have mine, you have yours. Which reminds me of financially literate. I'm going to talk about it during Aquarius, but always with me, buddy. Yeah, as you're on the road, you'll find your tribe, but be selective. Mercury in Libra. Yeah, let's talk about Mercury in Libra. Libra takes everything into account, right? So takes everything into account, comes to a conclusion, but still keeps the options open. There is still change that could be happening. And someone else may take Mercury in Libra on, may lead in Mercury in Libra on, and they'll go, but just to keep the peace, knowing better. Mercury in Virgo is different, but we'll talk about it during Virgo and Gemini. But first, Pisces rising. Lunar eclipse will be occurring for you in your first house of self, your identity, how you approach situations. And this lunar eclipse will be ruled by Neptune in your second house of possessions. And houses have one word sometimes, but encompass like 1,500 terms. So possessions, self-worth, how you think about yourself and what you think you are worth. The solar eclipse will be occurring in your seventh house of relationships, and how you see yourself in relationships, ruled by Mercury in your eighth house, an eighth house of secrets, of taboos, things we don't really bring to the light, things we don't really discuss. with others. And maybe it is time to discuss these things with people you really trust, people who can exert a real opinion about you without wanting anything from you. Just because you can be of service of doesn't mean that those people are good to you. But see, what kind of service is it that makes you valuable in a group? Because with the South Node in Virgo, quite some people might have lost their jobs or things or routines that they were so grounded and stuck in. And Uranus in Taurus, which will be back, things that they were grounded, secure in. And sometimes people identify themselves too much with those things. So maybe you've lost something, or maybe you don't have something, because second house ruled by Taurus, I have. What is it that you dream of having? Like, when I have this, I am worthy, I am valuable of other people's love, other people's attention, and other people's. Maybe people just like and love you for who you are. Pisces, natural ruler of the 12th house, brings themes with it like, the addiction and confusion, but also the glitz and the glamour. Being on stage, the theater, singing, dancing, the arts. And some people think, okay, I can sing, but I can't sing professionally. I can't sing like and fill like stadiums and stuff. So I'm not worthy of it. Yes, you are. For your, I remember I was called the singing train driver. I was like self-soothing myself, but like people, I really find that nice. I really, yeah. You also had a hard day, but sing. Let yourself be heard. Let yourself be known. Dance. Express. Show your art. There are always people who admire it too. And you don't have to do it for money. You don't have to think so highly of yourself that other. And we've talked about the Pisces. Don't think you're not worthy of just because someone else could. You are not them and they are not you. So I've noticed that, well, eclipses are always opposite each other. So the eclipses are happening on your axis of relationships. Get out of the first house and go into the seventh house. Get out of your own head, your own mind, your own subconscious, your own. Um, oh, yeah, it's glitz, glamour retreats and stuff, remember? But don't stop retreating yourself just because you think you are not worthy of in relationships. Go out there, talk to people, and get to know. And what I noticed is that these ruling planets are also on the axis. Excuse me. These ruling planets are also on the axis of possessions. Going out of the second house of this is what I think about myself, and going into the eighth house of shared possessions of this is what we think about you. This is what we think about me. This is the collective idea of this is Pisces rising's words in relationships, in groups. And note that these ruling planets are not always in an opposition. I just saw that and I would find it very sinful if I didn't say it. Your ruling planet, Neptune, we just talked about this a little, is moving from 1 degree during the lunar eclipse towards 0 degrees during the solar eclipse in your second house. If you use whole houses, 15 degrees in Pisces may be like the cusp of your second to your third house. So it's not about self-worth, it's about communication. And you may think, oh, Shmoane, you are so right. People don't see my worth. I'm not talking to you if this is in your third house. Maybe you should like speak more clearly. Maybe you should like lift the haze of your words. Don't talk so jibby zweefteverig. Either way, your ruling planet is on 1 degree of Aries, and 1 degree is the Aries degree in Aries. So Aries, that ball of fire, that childlike energy. And if the end of a cycle is with Pisces and that energetic degree in Pisces, that full expression of, okay, during this whole year, during this whole cycle, I've learned this, that, and this and that. Now I'm using my integrity to discern, to dissect. Can I use this belief system? Can I take this along in this new year, in this new cycle I'm going on? And on 29 degrees, you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to go out with it. 0 degrees in Aries, you're like, first day of school, I'm gonna kick it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make the blitz, whatever. And 1 degree in Aries is that like full childlike ball of fire expression. And luckily, Neptune and Saturn have been moving retrograde on that 1 degree in Aries, because that's the moment like, is this really how I want to go out with this belief system, with this way of thinking, with this fate? No, because the world is changing and luckily we see it, but no. So change things, re-dream how you want to be, how you want to act, and what your word is. Word. So as Neptune is moved out and 0 degrees, that world axis, like approaching the world, like that first day of school, like this is how we're going to remember. If the pictures were taken on the very first day of school, that is that what you're gonna wear? Is that how you're gonna do? Is that how you're gonna act? Is that a bag you're gonna take along? Do you? Do you? Don't say it with me, but do you? Our little equation: what, how, where, what. Neptune, I dream, I re-dream. How? You can fix that for yourself, because it's Aries like, of course, but is that your third house? Is it your? That's also something you need to figure out, because that's the where. What? I redream. How? Like Aries? Where in the second house of word? I redream my word when it comes to exerting my energy. Start action, remember? So that's the example for everyone. As we're going to get into it, we're going to do it a little quicker because you can dissect it for yourself. And I have like 11 other signs to do. So, Aquarius rising. A lunar eclipse in your second house of self-worth. So getting out of it, like the moon's dominant phrase, I feel about my words. How do you feel about your word? Well, get out of it. Get out with it. As we're going towards the solar eclipse in the 8th house of shared possessions, shared words. And you, Aquarius rising, with the dominant phrase, I know, has the power of the intellect. What are you going to do with all this intellect? You know it's worthy intellect. You know you could help other people with it, so start doing it. As the ruling planet of the lunar eclipse in your second house will be in your third house of basic communication, of basic knowledge to you. The ruler of the solar eclipse in your 8th house will be in the 9th house of higher education, higher knowledge, but also teachers, preachers, lecturing, college, foreign lands, expand. Go outside of 3rd house, your neighborhood, with your intellect, and you know. So, lunar eclipse, I feel this about myself. Start going to the people. With your ruling planet in your 4th house, has been in your 4th house, going back to your 4th house. I have told you, start getting comfortable with it, because everyone wants to know now. Everyone feels like an expert. I saw this video of Mariah Carey watching Mooney Long sing "We Belong Together," and the expression, she was like, "Get out of the way! I can do this so much better myself." That energy. Are you going to like sit there or clamping your chair like, oh, letting people ruin the future, whilst you can do something about it? The eclipse is happening on the axis of possessions of worth. Get out of the second house, get towards the 8th house, out of the self and towards the together. Ruled by planets on the axis of communication. Again, get out of the neighborhood and get into the college, lecture chambers, rooms. I haven't spoken English. Let me leave me alone. But your ruling planet, Uranus, is pre-retrograde, as it will be moving retrograde on the 6th of September, tomorrow. Pre-retrograde on 1 degree in Gemini. One in your fifth house of creativity, fifth house of, oh my god, fifth house has so much, has creativity, children, self-expression, leisure, taking risks. Well, do all of those things with your intellect. Like I promised, the financially literate friend story. So I was on Instagram, and I saw this girl, FLF, and it started with talking with her friends about finances and stuff. And after so many times, they still didn't get it, but she still really loved talking about it. And if you like talking about something like me with the astrology, go and find your platform. Go and make your YouTube and go upload, sweetie. Supply and demand. There is a demand for financially literate people. There's a demand for astrologers, bilingual astrologers in the Netherlands, whatever. Supply whatever skill it is that you have, whatever skill that can appease their demand. And I'm so happy to see all these content creators like getting out there and winning, and I see them growing. I see them growing. Either way, I'm not in competition with them. I'm in competition with the opposition. Well, I'm in competition with me. We'll get there. But as your planet, Uranus is moving retrograde, almost moving retrograde in your fifth house. Dominant phrase, I evolve like a Gemini creatively. Gemini makes very social, here, there, everywhere with the people. Very intellectual. Maybe we also need like a new gossip page or something. Maybe Gossip Girl needs to come back. So we have like the intellectual gossip. I just saw, of course, but there's a brain rot version of valuable information. Amazing. It's brain rot, so children watch it, but it's valuable it's valuable now. It's history. We cannot let it go to sleep. And if they're not reading the books, what can we do? Use our skills to make it suitable for. You know better. Do better. Creatively. Capricorn. Excuse me, rising. Lunar eclipse in your third house of basic communication, basic knowledge. Solar eclipse in your ninth house of higher education, higher knowledge. Third house is student, ninth house is the teacher. That lunar eclipse we are getting out of, I feel, about my communication is ruled by Neptune in your fourth house. I dream of comfort. What is the fourth house? Well, in the book, it says early life and latter life. So it says things about the latter life, how you're going to end. Like, are you going to be alone? Are you going to be together? Does it hurt? Or whatever. That. And early life, it's not just your childhood, but also your upbringing, the things you find normal. And for Capricorn rising, the traditions you grew up with, the traditions you would like to keep in place as it reminds you of your comfort, of your home. Well, we need to get out of that and into the 10th house, where Mercury will be the ruler of the solar eclipse in your ninth house. So that 10th house of public life, of reputation, of image, of legacy, how you are going to be remembered and how do you want to be remembered. Because this reminds me of when I was younger. I've been like living on my own since I was 18, adulting since I was 18. And I don't know on which last winter day, 29 degrees of Pisces, I think I was like 21 or something, and I thought, Shmoane, this is neat, okay. Because I was calling with like customer service, and I had this like 70s mentality, right? Like old traditions, customer is king, I'm always right. And I was on the phone, and I thought, like, what if someone were to hear you or see you speak like this? Would you be embarrassed? Yes. I would. No, and I'm still embarrassed right now, but not embarrassed enough to not teach you. with my experiences. I do not have these experiences just to keep them for myself. And when someone else is doing it, I'm like, no, if I can teach you, I'll teach you. There's no harm in it anymore. Bruh, we're 10 years further. I've been a good customer for 10 years on the phone. I've been like, oh, 20 minutes in the wait. I've been in the wait for 45 minutes sometimes. This is quite quick. You know what? Happy weekend to you too, sweetheart. You have a very pleasant voice. Okay, that's a little too much, but let them know. Let them know. Sometimes they're having a hard day too. Sometimes they're dealing with a 21-year-old Shmoane. It's not okay. Don't keep those traditions. Because is that how you want people to remember you? Use your integrity again. When no one is watching, are you still being the person you want other people to see? Because that's what you need to do. That basic communication, those basic things, basic knowledge. Oh, I've been so used to this forever. Well, expand. Some people wouldn't tolerate it. Some places wouldn't tolerate it. So learn how you can be more tolerated. Get out of, well, the eclipses are on the axis of communication, out of the basic into higher. So maybe in Europe this is accepted, but if I speak like this in America, they'd be like, come outside then, catch me outside. And the planets which rule these eclipses will be on the axis of life. Out of the fourth house, but a home life, comfort life, and into the 10th house, public life. So maybe at home you act like this, but you don't do it in public. Why? Because you ashamed. Ruling planet Saturn rules fear, shame, or all those things. Moving retrograde on 29 degrees of Pisces, the critical degree of Pisces during the lunar eclipse. Is this really how you want people to? During the solar eclipse, it will be on 28 degrees of Pisces in your third house. It's back in your third house of communication. Go back. Like, yeah, we have done this like always, all the time, but it's not working. So I re-achieve, like a Pisces, communication. I re-achieve, how do you call Pisces? Malevolent, empathic communication, maybe? We've been talking about this, so let's just go on to Sagittarius. Lunar eclipse in your fourth house of home life, comfort zone. Solar eclipse in your 10th house of public life. How you'll be remembered, that legacy. The lunar eclipse in your fourth house will be ruled by Neptune in your fifth house of expression. I'll explain in a bit. The solar eclipse in your 10th house will be ruled by Mercury in your 11th house of expression. I'll explain to you right now. Because the eclipse is happening on the axis of life, out of the home life into the public life. So at home, you feel very comfortable being your big Sagittarian self. You can teach people, you can preach, and whatever. Well, Sagittarius can do a whole lot because you're ruled by Jupiter, right? But um, these these ruling planets will be on the axis of expression. And what expression? Fifth house is self expression, your own creativity, your own thing. Well, your own. Fifth house, fire house, ruled by Leo, is the artist that makes art. Is not art, makes art, creates art, exerts it to the world, exerts its will. Dominant phrase, I will, to the world, and shines. Dominant planet, dominant ruling planet, the sun planet. 11th house of expression is a air house ruled by Aquarius. Air, fire, fans, whatever it is that makes you ignite, that makes you say, look at me. So that 11th house of friends, like-minded people, peers, everything on the self, same thing. That's like, I'm on the same line with this and I'm going to fan it. I'm going to invest in this invention, kind of. I'm going to try and go deeper in it, because like fifth house, again, self-expression, creativity, romance, children, leisure, all those good things. But you have to dissect something and take it for yourself. And the 11th house is all about, again, inventions, technology, future, peer relationships, and those like-minded people again. And I'm probably forgetting something again for the people. But yeah, that acts as self-expression. So out of the self-expression and into expressing for the people, expressing for the world. You do not have all these experiences just to keep them your own experiences. You do not have all these skills just to keep them for yourself, your own skills. You, Sagittarius rising, need to go out there with it. And you have a whole lot. But yeah, note, Aquarius rising, don't know if you're still here, but pre-retrograde Uranus, eh? So it's going to move back into Taurus. And Taurus is its fallen placement. Jupiter is in its exalted placement. And all these placements, fallen, exalted, detriment, furthest from home, or even home, domicile, these are learning placements. Leo, I don't like to be outside, I don't like to be in front of the camera, but I must. So I'm here, I'm doing what all these things to learn. Jupiter is exalted, so most favorable placement, but learn to mind your business. In Dutch, there was this funny video, and the guy said, "That is not my store, mate." That's why sometimes I say, "That's not your store, mate," because it was like, "Hey, I see someone broke into this store," and I don't care. That's not my store, mate. And sometimes you need to think like that too. It's not your store. It's not your business. It's not your bicycle. It's not your. They stole my bicycle the other Friday. Yeah. Oh, I was hysterisch. But the things that you really care about with Jupiter, dominant phrase, I grow, is the expander. Expand yourself and for yourself. So you can do it for the people, whatever it is that you have, whatever skill it is that you have. Ruler of the ninth house, of the teacher, the mentor, the preacher. Go, do your thing. Your planet exalted during the lunar eclipse on 19 degrees in Cancer, and during the solar eclipse on 21 degrees in Cancer, in your 8th house of desires, secrets, taboos, things we don't really talk about, bring to the light, and stuff. I expand like a Cancer in my desires. I think your hobbies, your leisure is not just your leisure, because, yeah, I think you do desire something with those skills. So go out, test, try, tribulate, trial and tribulation, and get out of the house, get into the public. Scorpio rising, lunar eclipse in your 5th house, solar eclipse in your 11th house. Get out of this is what I create, this is what I ignite, and get into with the people. This is what we can create, and this is what we can ignite, and this is what we can build towards. This is how we can innovate towards the future. That lunar eclipse in your 5th house will be ruled by Neptune in your 6th house of work, habits, routines, being of service to health. Get out with that skill instead of keeping it for yourself in the dark, wherever. And with that solar eclipse, go towards the people, go towards your peers, go towards your like-minded people. That solar eclipse ruled by Mercury in your 12th house, the 12th house of subconscious, suppressed thoughts. Oh, it's really hard. This is secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. Scorpio's quite well in self-undoing, well, sacrificing for others, but it's time to sacrifice for yourself. What do you desire? What do you what do you desire to have, to do, to create, to how to act? and start doing it. But sometimes, again, there is strength in numbers. Pisces until Libra is going from first house to seventh house, 12th house to eighth house, third house to ninth house, all from inside to outside. First house to sixth house, personal development, personal expression. Seventh house to 12th house, outer development, outer expression. Pisces, 1, 7, Aquarius, 2, 8, Capricorn, 3, 9. And now we're at Scorpio from 5th, your own expression, towards 11. Go outside. I am not making this up, sweetheart, even though your ruling planet is in Aquarius. I know. What? Eclipses on the axis of expression and ruled by planets on the axis of service and routines. So, sixth house is the earthly habits, earthly routines, earthly service, earthly. I need to pay my rent every month, but get into not earthly, heavenly, not divine, divine. Get into divine service, divine routines, divine habits. What makes you subconsciously feel free? What makes you subconsciously feel liberated? I mean, some things you already got. So it's good, it's well. But what is it before those things started distracting you that you really desire to do? Don't make it illegal though. Your ruling planet is in its fallen placement of Aquarius. Remember the story by Dima? We talked about it during Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces season. But your ruling planet is moving retrograde in your fourth house on 1 degree in Aquarius. So I empower, dominant phrase. Oh, I re-empower. What comfort is, where I feel comfortable. Of course, we don't bring everything to the light. We don't bring everything to the people. Of course, we have to keep which trait of Virgo? Humble. You don't have to talk about everything. You don't have to bring everything. You don't have to let everything be known to everyone. But sometimes you need to relieve the pressure of the kettle. Talk to someone, let it out, find your people, go find your tribe, re-empower, redefine what comfort means for you, and transform with it. Liberate yourself. Libra rising. Lunar eclipse in your 6th house of habits, routines, service. Solar eclipse in your 12th house of subconscious self-doing, secret sorrows, and all that good stuff. Lunar eclipse in your 6th house will be ruled by Neptune in your 7th house. What do you actually believe about relationships and what those relationships think and mean to and for you? Solar eclipse in your 12th house will be ruled by Mercury in your 1st house. So we have these eclipses on the axis of service and routines. Get out of those earthly habits and routines and go into, like Scorpio, what subconsciously makes you feel free, what subconsciously makes you feel liberated. And the ruling planets on the eclipses of relationships. But this is funny because you are the tipping point. And your ruling planets are going from the 7th house, so relationships outside of yourself and how you define yourself in them, towards the 1st house. So go back to yourself and how you think about things, and don't let others lead you, get you off your way, get you off your path. Remember what I said about Mercury in Libra. So, get out of the 6th house. This is what defines love. Because ruled by Venus, sweetheart, it's about giving and taking. And if something someone can't do for you, what you can do for them. Have we not been here before? If someone can do not for you, what you can do for them, is that actually love? So out of the 6th house and into the 12th house, what subconsciously, is that actually love? No? Go. And take all your love, resources, and go. And those ruling planets from the 7th house, Neptune is the higher aspect of Mercury, right? Well, not the higher, Uranus is the higher. Subconsciously, in relationships, and consciously act for yourself. I'm a little bit, because your ruling planet, and Pam Gregory taught me this, is on 15 degrees of Leo during the lunar eclipse. 15 degrees in Leo is 15 degrees. Well, 15 degrees in Leo. No, it's 45 degrees further from the world axis in Cancer. World axes are also quite prominent placements as changes for the world are happening over there. Well, I don't know where that world axis is falling for you, but I do know Venus is falling on 15 degrees in Leo in your 11th house of hopes, aspirations, future, where you want to go to. And as it's over there, it's making a semi-square with the world axis, which is mildly adverse, brings tension that precipitates events, but it's much less powerful than a square. But it's still there. So we're going to note it. Precipitate means comes ahead of. It's not my first language, or is it? I still don't know. But Venus in your 11th house in Leo, I don't know why I said generously for the people. Well, I love like a Leo for the people. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it for the people. And if you can't fill your own cup, how can you fill someone else's cup? So fill your cup first. Eventually, during the solar eclipse, your ruling planet Venus will be in its fallen sign of Virgo on 2 degrees in your 12th house. Fallen, again, fallen, detriment, domicile, and the other one, exalted. All learning placements, all learning points. So learn how to love yourself first, how to pour in yourself first. Because then I said, I love, like a Virgo. Oh, I love humbly for the people. Don't let them know I can do this, I can do that, I can. Don't let them know. Then they'll find someone else if it's not you. And if they do need you, they can come to you too. So, off to Virgo. And here we're going to really turn, as the lunar eclipse will be in your 7th house and the solar eclipse in your 1st house. So really going out of shared relationships and into yourself. Fix the relationship with yourself first, instead of fixing yourself in relationships. The lunar eclipse in your 7th house. So getting out of those relationships. How do you feel about those relationships? Ruled by Neptune in your 8th house. I desire this of myself. I desire that of myself. What are you desiring? Solar eclipse in your 1st house. So start asserting in your 1st house of Virgo, of bettering yourself, with Mercury in your 2nd house of possessions and words. I already said it. Bettering yourself. Put into yourself. Add words. Add value unto yourself. Eclipses on the axis of the 7th house, but out of the people. Again, out of the people, and go inward. Go back towards yourself. Ruled by planets on the axis of self-worth. So out of, but what will they think of me when I pick myself? We don't care. We don't care. Because what will they think of you if you can't be there? If it's the last time you could have been of service? Yeah, that's what I'm not thinking about. Take a sleep, take your rest, take your time, change your routines, change your habits for yourself. So eventually you can do for the people. Don't worry about it. In half a year, we're going. like things are going to change. We have the lunar eclipse in Virgo and the solar eclipse in Pisces. So, but for now, for these upcoming 6 months, take your time, honey, and be selfish. Neptune in Aries, be selfish. Well, your ruling planet, Mercury, is exalted in Virgo on 10 degrees during the lunar eclipse. So being exalted, it thinks, that I promise you, Mercury exalted in Virgo. Virgo thinks like, I know how it's going to go. This is what I have in mind. So let's see it happening. And then it's not really happening. Still waiting. Let's see it happening. I told you so. And then it's not. Maybe change your mind as things are happening instead of changing situations towards your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should have gone like this, and then you're going to like adjust the situation, better the situation. Maybe just go with the flow. Mercury in Virgo on 10 degrees of your legacy, of your reputation, and all those things. So yeah, get out of those relationships, sweetie, and put into yourself. If you know it's going to get out of hand, sorry, yeah, that's also an English saying. If you know it's going to get out of hand, let Jesus take the wheel, skedaddle. I think about self. Mercury in Virgo during the lunar eclipse. During the solar eclipse, it will be on 5 degrees in Libra in your second house. I think about self-worth. Start thinking about your self-worth. And start adding to it. Leo, you bored too? Well, this is not like for your sun sign or something. Well, it's for your sun, moon, rising, whatever, for your Venus. So, Leo, but for real though, because it's a number 9 year, right? So, what is there to do? What is there to create? What is there to just sit still, meditate, and let it happen, and c'est la vie and stuff. Okay, that's just my personal thing, but lunar eclipse in your 8th house of desires, of things we don't really speak about. Solar eclipse in your 2nd house of self-worth, own possessions, and stuff. Get out of the shared possessions, get into the self-worth. 8th house lunar eclipse ruled by Neptune in your 9th house of higher education, higher knowledge, expanding and stuff. Stop expanding. Go back to your neighborhood. It's all good. As the solar eclipse in your 2nd house of self-worth will be ruled by Mercury in your 3rd house of communication and basic. Just basic. Go back to basic, sweetie. Everyone's going back to basic. Everyone is using our childhood like their aesthetic. Well, eclipses on the axis of self-worth get out of, shared, get into yourself, ruled by planets on the axis of communication. Higher communication, bigger, broader, to basic. Basic. Okay? Come back to basic. Your ruling planet, the sun, will be on 15 degrees during the solar eclipse, during the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And, no, in Pisces. Your ruling planet, the sun, will be on 15 degrees in Virgo during the solar eclipse. And during the lunar eclipse, it will be on 29 degrees of Virgo. All in your 2nd house of self-worth and possessions. So, dominant phrase of the sun, I am, like a Virgo, worthy. How are you worthy? What is it that you have? Which skill do you have? I mean, everyone loves to see you on stage, but what is it that you actually have? What is it that you actually bring? Define it before someone else like takes it away or replicates it or whatever. Leos, I think we are the most easy people to replicate. Has someone already like replicated me in AI? I don't even have a Bitmoji. Let me know, okay? I don't, well, define what it is that you do, that you are. As we're going off to Cancers for the lunar eclipse, Cancer risings. The lunar eclipse will be happening in your ninth house of higher education. Let's just say, as for Leo, I just said basic. Third house is the basic. Ninth house is actually broader, broader tolerance, broader acceptance, broader knowledge, broader feel, broader influence, everything. I'm getting out of that though. And going back to the self, back to the basics. And you may say, but Shmoane, I just moved to Spain. Now how can I go back to the what's your new neighborhood? Uh-huh. Go back to that. Lunar eclipse in your ninth house will be ruled by Neptune in your 10th house. I dream of this being my career, my legacy, how I will dream about how you will be, what you will leave behind. Excuse me, solar eclipse ruled by Mercury in your fourth house of home, of comfort, of things that you think that are normal to you, okay? That make you feel comfortable and cozy and safe. So solar eclipse in your third house, assert there, initiate there in your direct surroundings with whatever it is that you have, whatever it is that you bring, that nurturing je ne sais quoi. Eclipses on the axis of communication, get out of the broader, get back to the basics, get back to your direct surroundings, nieces, nephews, cousins, neighbors, all those. Ruled by planets on the axis of life. Get out of the public. Yeah, but I wanted to do a cooking show online. No, 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 not you, sweetie. You just do you. Some people need to like take the lead. Other people need to follow. I'm not saying you need to follow. I'm not saying you need to take the lead. I'm just saying you do not need to expand right now. Your ruling planet, the moon, during the lunar eclipse will be on 15 degrees in Pisces in your ninth house. Again, of that expansion. I feel like I should, I feel a la Pisces about expanding. Scary. Should I? I feel like a Pisces about expanding in your ninth house as the lunar eclipse is happening on, as the solar eclipse is happening on 29 degrees in Virgo in your third house of basic. I feel about, I feel to my neighborhood. I feel like a Virgo to my neighborhood. What? Virgo? I, what's a Virgo? I feel like a servant to my neighborhood. Actually, it's a servant. She's a servant with them weeds on her neck. We're talking about it another time. As the sun is going down, it seems like it's getting black and white. Cute. Let me put on some light. I pay. I paid. Um, yeah. Gemini. Gemini rising. Lunar eclipse in your 10th house of public life, career, legacy, how people see you, remember you. And we're going back to the home life, solar eclipse in your fourth house. So yeah, home life, the what Veda? Yeah, home, early and latter life. That's what the book says, but find your words. Either way, lunar eclipse in your 10th house will be ruled by Neptune in your 11th house of expression. And the solar eclipse in your fourth house will be ruled by Mercury in your fifth house of expression. So we're going out of the public into the home. We're going out of fears and future, aspirate, hope, like-minded people, and going into yourself, your own, your romance, whatever. Your children. Would you want your children seeing you like this? Would you want your partner? Well, someone you find romantically interesting seeing you like this. Because Pisces a lot of times is known as, like, does, say, and I've said this is the year that Pisces is really going to shake that image off, like really going to shake that stigma off, but you have to walk it like you talk it. So, how do you express yourself when you are alone, when you are, well, not thinking about the future? Because those people, actually, yeah, that axis, ping pong on that axis. Okay, Mercury exalted during the lunar eclipse in your fourth house of home life. So you think you know better about home, like a Virgo, and that's Mercury is exalted over there on 10 degrees. 10 degrees is all about, is the Capricorn degree, all about legacy again, all about career, how people look at you. Are you an authority, authority figure? Yeah, you just need to come back to yourself, man. I- I'm trying to think about the story in Dutch, but I can't. Let's just go to the solar eclipse. Mercury will be on 5 degrees then in Libra in your fifth house, and I think like a Libra about timing. And why did I say timing? Because Saturn loves it in Libra, but why did I think about that? I don't know. I don't know. But Sun don't like it and don't really like it in Libra. Libra's like, should I take this in account? Should I take that in account? Mercury is also like, Mercury and Libra, take this in account, take that in account, don't go 100% for it and stuff. And some people may think, oh, Gemini, this makes you a swindler. This makes you that like a fox. And we don't like that. Well, jammer voor jou dan. That's too bad for them. Helaas pindakaas. Because it's timing. And you can use it at your own advantage. So maybe you've been acting, walking a little strange the whole time, but you know, like this is the time you need to shine. Didn't Kanye do the same? I think I saw this story about, and I don't know what Frank Ocean his thing is, his sun sign, but I heard, read, saw Kanye West. He acted like he was crazy to get out of some deals and stuff that would cost him years or money that he didn't have. And because he was crazy, they dropped the deals and the contracts and stuff. And now he's like, haha, I swindled y'all. He doesn't have any teeth, but he's sane and free. And sane and free. It's all about timing, baby, apparently. So, yeah, think about your timing, about how you're going to do your things. I don't even know if the story is true. I did not fact check it yet, but if it is, Frank Ocean's story is true. He kind of like did the same, like, oh, I have all these contracts and stuff. Well, here you have like an audio of me farting for a whole hour and call that your album. Be smart about it. And yeah, what skills do you take from home? What skills do you have at home? Or did you go that far? Because at home, like everyone's kind of like sick of you and your antics and stuff. Okay, off to Taurus rising. My English is almost finished today, or lunar eclipse in your 11th house of expression, solar eclipse in your 5th house of expression. Getting out of the expression for the people, for the majority, and getting into the expression of yourself. That solar eclipse ruled by Neptune in your 12th house of subconscious. Subconsciously, you know better. Solar eclipse where we're going to, ruled by Mercury in your 6th house. You know so much better. You've always been in the habit of, but because people, 11th house, tell you this, that, and the third, you don't mind going along with this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, especially with Mercury during the solar eclipse in Libra, you know better. So I think this is a time, a number 9 year, to stop your charades and start being serious about whatever it is that you want to that you want to go and do. Eclipses on the axis of expression. Don't express for the people, express for you. Ruled by planets on the axis of service. Get out of your subconscious and get into the daily habits of doing whatever it is you're thinking about. Thinking about it doesn't make it real. During the lunar eclipse, your ruling planet, Venus, will be on 15 degrees in Leo. 15 degrees is a semi-square away from the world axis in Cancer. See where this falls for you. See if you have any planets over there for whatever. Venus on 15 degrees in Leo in your 4th house of, like I told Capricorn, how you were raised. So your upbringing, those things that you, it's not about traditions, but it's so normal to you. The E. coli, what is it? So tired. The IC, E. coli, subconscious motivation. So, like all of a sudden, why am I thinking about Katara doing that blood shift? Muscle memory. So tired, sweetheart. Sorry, but Venus on 15 degrees in Leo in your 4th house. So, what's 15 degrees again? 13, 15, 15. It's Gemini degree. Gemini, social, here, there, everywhere. Stop. We're not going to do that. We're going back to ourselves and back to our muscle memory. Because I love dominant phrase of Taurus. I have. What do you have? Your craft. Your craft to say this is worthy and this isn't. Here in the Netherlands, we don't appreciate your wooden houses in America because it's cold. And yeah, it's cold and it will get very wet and it's way too vulnerable. But in America, and especially if you live like in the belt of the hurricanes and stuff, you're happy your house is of wood, so you can rebuild it again. You already bought the property, right? Whatever. But just to say, if you want to go and build your wooden house over here and stuff, just because we don't see the value in it, doesn't mean you can't. And there are other reasons why you can't, but do you, sweetie? See your own value and stick to it. Love your craft. As during the solar eclipse, the Venus will be in its fallen placement of Virgo on 2 degrees in your 5th house. 5th house of romance, creativity, children, leisure, free time, hobbies, and risks, taking risks. And you could lash out. But like a Virgo, I guess, your 5th house is quite gracious. It could be quite timid. So I said, I love my grace. Because you could lash out. But why would you? You could just like get up and go. The French exit. Buongiorno. Aries, rising, thank you for being with me, thank you for sticking with me. Nee, het gaat niet goed. Ja, gaat prima joh, maar lunar eclipse in your 12th house of subconscious sorrows, secrets, self-undoing, addictions, prison, well, retreats, glitz and glamour, smoke and mirrors, all the good stuff. Lunar eclipse over there, 12th house. I am not worthy of. I should be for this. I should be whatever for this. Get out of there. Or whatever you feel. And get into the 6th house of daily habits, daily routine, earthly habits, and earthly routines. And like the Libra, you're having this weird shift too, because the eclipses are going from 12 outside to 6 inside, but the ruling planets are going from 1 inside to 7 outside. So be more of service to yourself. Well, no. Lunar eclipse, 12th house, ruled by Neptune in your first house. How you think about yourself, how you approach the world. We are redreaming, rethinking about that, because subconsciously people are like, Aries is always rude. No. You read one astrology book one time and now you think all Aries are rude and you're putting that on me, and I don't think that's fair. And you can say that. There's no harm in that. Solar eclipse, we are going to start initiating with these new habits and these new routines and going to put it on. We're not going to force it on, but we're going to bring it to our relationships. Well, I'm not an Aries rising, but we're going to bring it to our relationships, and we're going to bring it diplomatically, especially as your ruling planet. Well, not that's relevant or something, but your ruling planet during this whole eclipse season is in its detriment placement of Libra, moving from 20 degrees to 29 degrees. So again, that critical degree in Libra, this is how I'm really going to act. This is how I'm really going to exert myself. And sometimes people may tell you, and take it from me, people will tell me, oh, Shmoane, you're an angry black woman. No, the F I'm not. I'm passionate. And I'm an African woman. Afro Latina. Still need to get used to that term, but don't put me in a box. Don't make any stigma or just because you saw this, that, or the third on TV. I am not the first, and the first is not me. But I will be the first to be throwing them stones. I promise you that. I cannot wait. Eclipses on the axis of service get out of the divine services and get into the earthly services and habits, and ruled by planets on the axis of relationships get out of yourself and get into relationships. If people can put things on you, you can also put things on people. It's fair. Voor wat hoort wat. Give and you take. Een toet voor een toet, eye for an eye. So as Mars is moving from 20 degrees to 29 degrees in its detriment placement of Libra in your 7th house, dominant phrase, I act, I treat like a Libra my relationships. You give and you take. You give and you take. Hey. So yeah, that's the summer check-in, eclipse season. We had 2 new moons in Virgo, so it's really time to clean up our acts and better ourselves, because it's 2025, y'all. So, some things can't go anymore. Sommige dingen kunnen gewoon niet meer. And yeah, someone needs to stop it. Know what to We're going to go real quick during that out. I left you with your intention journals because Neptune was moving retrograde. And when Neptune is moving retrograde, and especially during this year, number 9, I have nothing to tell you. Number 9 is like, listen to your intuition and cycles. And in Chinese astrology, it's also the year of the snake. And the snake represents like wisdom and following your intuition again, and shedding, the ability to shed old skin so you can be ready for new beginnings. And I'm like, why is everything so Piscean energy focused and stuff? Well, because this is the end. No, things are really coming to an end, like astrologically, numerologically, physiologically, things are really coming to an end. And that's okay, but synchronicity, baby. So as we find Pisces at the end of the zodiac chart, it that's where all the skill, all the knowledge, all the experiences accumulate. So you can say, this is the full belief system, dominant phrase, I believe. This is the full belief system. This is with which fate I'm going to go out and grab my destiny. Child, did you congratulate Beyonce yesterday? It's important, eh? Nee, ja, so dat. En wat nog meer? Oh yeah, the philosophy of being still. So yeah, I think my sign, it's time to like go from inside to outside or whatever. But it's really time to be still. Like when Neptune is moving retrograde, intuition is louder. So yeah, listen to it. And if you still couldn't hear it, maybe you've been too loud. Maybe outside is too loud. Maybe inside is too loud. Like try and be quiet. I'm so quiet I can only hear my blood pump. I don't even think it's good. But I need to see the doctor. And if you feel the urgency to go see the doctor, sorry, please do so. With the South Node in Virgo. Yeah, the philosophy of let it be, that was what I was exerting, and little rusty but ready. Yeah. I'm very rusty. Now, and what did I want to say during Cancer season? Neptune retrograde, re-dream. Saturn, re-achieve, re-strategize. Mercury retrograde, I rethink. In Leo, what I create, my will that I exert to the world. But that's been like from the 18th of July until the 11th of August. We're in September already. This is where I saw Chiron started moving retrograde on the 30th of July, but we already talked about that because I found that quite importante, and we're an hour weg. And I already said that Uranus is starting to move retrograde. Oh, I look so weird. But Uranus is starting to move retrograde on the 6th of September, tomorrow, in Gemini on 1 degree. So I re-evolve. I re-evolve. I have to think about it a little too long. But do you know what's also in Gemini on 0 degrees? Thank you, Pam Gregory. Setna. Setna is a myth about Inuit princess, if I'm correct. And the asteroid of Setna has an orbit of 1100 years. Yes, 1100 years before Setna will come back to this 0 degrees in Gemini, where she resides at. And I find the story of Setna quite interesting, especially as 0 degrees in Gemini for me is in a place where I feel like Setna. Because what happened? She was just living her best life, being a princess in Inuit, so like very north of Canada, and her parents wanted her to marry, and she was like, nah, I don't want to. I'm good. I'm going to tell the like hectic story because YouTube story is too soft. But she was like, nah, I don't want to marry. And her father was like, oh, okay, well, let's go for a boat ride, get some fish. And because he was a little angry at her because she didn't want to marry, he like pushed her off the boat. And she was like clamping at the boat, like, oh my god, no, how could you do that? And he like hit her frozen fingers. And as she was drifting off, like in disbelief, and her fingers became like the whales and the dolphins and the fish. And it's just a myth. Enjoy the story, but her fingers became the dolphins and the fish and the whales and everything, and she became the queen of the deep sea, the deep sea, like the things we don't know. I have been very honest in my life. All the hardship I've had this past number 9 year, me gado. But it's okay. As as long as God got us, we got us, we gonna be all right. See where Setna falls for you, and where you gonna be all right.